Siobhan Muir. Welcome back to Cooking with Siobhan. So, it's the month of Ostara. Blessed Ostara, which we have translated into Easter. Well, Easter isn't until the end of April, but so you could make this a couple times and be pretty happy. This is called a lavender cake because the flavors of Ostara are mint and citrus and lavender and violet, and I think there was another one that I'm not thinking of. But so I was looking up recipes to share, and what I came across was a lavender cake, and I have had lavender buds forever and have wanted to use them. So now we are going to use them. So what do you need for this cake? You need 4 ounces or 1 stick of unsalted butter softened, 1 cup of sugar, 2 teaspoons of lavender buds. Make sure you find these. I found these in the bulk section of like natural grocers or a health food store. They're actually quite common. You can get a hold of them pretty easily. 2 eggs, 1.5 cups of gluten-free 1-to-1 all-purpose baking flour, 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and 3/8 cup or 6 tablespoons of buttermilk, and then 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. This is for the cake. We will talk about the syrup, because there will be lavender syrup and lavender glaze after we get the cake started. So what do you need to start with? Well, the first thing they say is preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 177 degrees Celsius. Butter and flour or spray your loaf pan. This is going to be a cake. It's going to be more like banana bread. It's going to go in a loaf pan, which she has. So we have done that. You may also want to line the bottom of the pan with parchment paper for extra insurance. But I'm pretty sure because it's gluten-free, it's going to come out just fine. If you're doing this non-gluten-free, then you might want to do that. It says, measure out your sugar in a bowl. It's nice when you have your own thing. And then add the lavender buds to it and rub them together for a minute or 2 to release the essential oils into the sugar. Make sure your hands are very clean. Since you're going to be serving this to other people, you don't want anything under your nails or anything. Make sure your hands are very clean before you do this. So here's the sugar, and here are the lavender buds. Now I am gonna go and wash my hands because I've been touching other things. So once I'm done washing my hands, I'll mix these together. So now that your hands are really clean, start mixing the lavender buds into the sugar and kind of rubbing them between your fingers. Oh yeah, I can really smell it now. What you're going to do is then add this to the mixing bowl with the butter. I didn't show you the butter yet. What I just wanted you to know is that you want to mix this together with the sugar. Make sure that it is very fragrant. And then in here, you add the butter to your blender. Cream together the butter and lavender sugar by beating them with an electric mixer on medium-high for about 5 minutes. So I'm gonna go wash my hands, and then we will mix this all together. So what you do, it says, is cream together the butter and lavender sugar by beating them with an electric mixer on medium-high for about 5 minutes. You want the mixture to be pale and fluffy. 5 minutes will do it. But because I don't think it's going to get any better. All right. Okay, so once you've fluffed your butter and sugar, then what you need to do is slow your mixer down to low and beat in the eggs one at a time. You can stop your mixer and crack an egg, you know. You don't have to do it while it's running, really.
That would be entertaining.
It can be. It can be very much entertaining. But they do suggest do it on low and beat them in one at a time. All right, thank you. All right. Then They say, in a separate bowl, sift together the flour, baking soda, baking powder, and salt. Measure out your buttermilk in another container or measuring cup and add the vanilla extract to that. You know, this person must not have to actually do the dishes. So what I'm going to suggest to you is you can add the vanilla to your buttermilk. You can totally do that. I have the buttermilk sitting right here. This is a half cup. You're not going to need a half cup. You're going to need, they said, 6 tablespoons. So what I would suggest is you can either measure it out into yet another container and mix the vanilla in it, or you can mix it in this half cup if you want to, and then you've got vanilla buttermilk. Or you could put the vanilla in here, then put the buttermilk in here, and then add the flour. Whatever you choose to do, unless they say, do they do alternate? Yes, so you're gonna alternate. All right, so then what I would suggest is put it in the container of, even if you only use 6 tablespoons of that half cup, cool. Don't make more mess for yourself, really. I'm already mad that there's 2 bowls. That's okay, it's okay. So now that this is mixed for now, set it aside and then start sifting together the dry ingredients. So we need 1.5 cups of flour. Very nice. And you'll need 1/4 cup of baking powder. And 1/4 cup of baking soda.
You mean 1/4 teaspoon?
Yeah, sorry. Oh my goodness, I've been saying 1/4 cup. Don't do that. 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. Yeah, don't do the other.
I'm going, wait a minute.
And a half teaspoon, not cup, half teaspoon of salt. That would be a terrible. Yeah.
I'm going, hold on a minute.
Flour, baking soda, baking powder, and salt. All right, and then whisk that together gently. I know they say sift it together. You can do that too, but that's one more thing you have to watch. I think I'm just gonna add the vanilla to the buttermilk as it is, and then we measure out our 6 tablespoons. It says a half teaspoon of vanilla extract. So we'll just do the half teaspoon of vanilla extract and we'll stick it in the buttermilk.
That makes sense. 1/8 plus 2 tablespoons or so.
And then it says, if you have a stand mixer, you can do this while your butter and sugar are being creamed. They said hand mixer, I use the hand mixer. If you want to do it all in your stand mixer, you can do that too.
They're changing the rules.
They are in mid recipe. I know. With your mixer on at its lowest setting, tip 1/3 of your dry ingredients, followed by half your buttermilk. So we're going to alternate. Low. Please add 1/3 of that.
I'll do what I can. Tell me when to stop. I'm working on it.
That's good. Okay, and then 3 tablespoons of that. And then half of this. Then I guess 1/3 of that, or half of that, half of what's left. All right. We might have to add extra because it's gluten-free.
Okay.
All right, now we add the last of the dough. What do you think?
Looks kind of smooth.
It does. And then it says, until everything is just combined, keep going with another 1/3 of the dry stuff, rest of the buttermilk, and then the last of the dry ingredients until everything comes together. Ditch the electric mixer. Ditch the electric mixer. Be sure to scrape off as much of the batter as you can. Give the bowl one last scrape and gentle mix with the rubber spatula, and then transfer your thick batter to your waiting loaf pan. Smooth out the top and bake for 40 to 45 minutes. Ditch the electric. All right. Alrighty. I wasn't sure if we'd need more buttermilk, but. Okay.
Oh, if you're doing this gluten-free like we are, always make sure to immediately soak whatever tools or bowls you're using, because if you don't, cleaning it when it is dry is a really painful process you could otherwise avoid.
It turns into concrete. Smooth out the top. Did what I could. And bake for 40 to 45 minutes or until it's golden on top and a cake tester comes out clean. So I'm just gonna put this in here and we'll start it. But then we're going to make the syrup. Okay, once you get the cake in the oven, just let it go, and now you're going to make the syrup. This is gonna give it an even more intense lavender flavor. So what you do, you need a 1/4 cup of sugar, you need a 1/4 cup of water, which we don't have on here, but water is rather plentiful, and a tablespoon of lavender buds. Okay? We're gonna do this on the stove. So, combine the sugar, water, and lavender in a small saucepan. So, we'll start with the water. And then I'll add in the sugar. And then I'll add in the lavender. Now, I'm gonna use a whisk and just kind of combine them. And then you're going to heat them up. You're not going to heat it up very high. I would start with just medium heat so that you can get this done. Make sure you try to get all the lavender down into the sugar water mixture. Actually, I'm going to turn it down low. And you want to heat this kind of like you're making sugar water for hummingbirds. Kind of want to just heat it up enough that the sugar, that it becomes clear. The sugar completely dissolves into the water and it becomes clear. I know I'm using a white pan. How are you going to see it's clear? But in my pan, it will look less foggy. That's pretty clear.
Yeah, gee, that didn't take long at all.
No, it never does.
I think I can still see some granules of sugar, so keep going.
Yeah, it's a little bit, but mostly it's pretty clear. All right. Remove from heat and let steep. That's what it says. Remove from the heat. Leave the syrup alone to steep while the cake finishes baking. Once the cake is out of the oven, strain out the lavender. So we're gonna let it sit for about a half an hour, looks like. We'll be back to show you what we do with it. So once it comes out, you want to leave it in the pan. The recipe says, leave the syrup to steep, right? And then it says, I like to leave the cake in the loaf pan to help the syrup absorb better, but you also might want to turn it out and put something underneath it. I'm gonna leave it in the pan, but it says, once the cake is out of the oven, strain out the lavender and then pour the syrup slowly over the cake. So what we're going to do is we're going to strain out the lavender.
It's so straining.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay.
She's strained just thinking about it.
Yeah.
Hard. Okay.
Okay.
Down
So there's all
and
this
down.
stuff with the lavender in it. So you're just going to pour it in here. And the reason I'm using this other pot down there, which we could have technically done that, but the reason we're using this other pot is because it's got a pour spout in it. And it's easy to manipulate. All right, so now you have sweetened lavender syrup. And you're supposed to slowly pour this over the hot cake. Now, we're gonna leave it in there to soak into the cake.
Tastes pretty good.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Got some on my hands, so I thought.
Ooh, yeah, that's really nice. So I'm just gonna let it
Pool there.
Yeah, soak into the cake, I guess. All right, Now we're gonna set that aside and let it do its thing by soaking into the cake while we make the glaze. Now you're gonna have to wait for the cake to actually cool completely before you put the glaze on. Otherwise it's just gonna melt off and then it's not gonna look nearly as cool. But we will make the glaze so that you can see it done. And then we'll show you what it looks like poured over the cold cake. All right, so what it says is you're going to need, for the glaze, you're going to need a 1/2 cup of powdered sugar, 1 to 2 teaspoons of lemon juice, and then you'll sprinkle the lavender buds on top. That'll be at the very end. However, if it doesn't come to be, it's just kind of a pile of hard sugar when you add the lemon juice in it, I would suggest adding a little bit of milk. So what you're going to do is we'll see how much. All right, there's the 1/2 cup. There you go. That one's just gonna be rinsed. But then we're going to put, I'll do 2 for this much sugar. I think you're gonna want 2 teaspoons, don't you think?
Yeah. There's the one.
I was thinking of a metal spoon actually.
Oh, I was thinking like one of the little wooden spoons, like this one.
Okay. Yeah, that'll work. This is my original spoon that I got when I moved out of my mom's house.
I'd say it's quite a bit too thick.
Yeah, so I'd like a little bit of milk.
Ooh,
Just a little bit.
ouch, that was fun.
Yeah, that's probably good actually. I know that doesn't seem like very much, but it'll make it flow just enough.
Do you want a little more?
No, I think that's good. Perfect. We'll need this after the cake cools. And then we'll sprinkle these on top. All right, so it is cooled and you can see how the syrup has kind of sunk into it. And it's a very moist cake now because of the syrup. But now what you're supposed to do is put the lemon glaze on the top. Because it is lemon. So I thought we would. I mean, you know, you could do it any way you want to. And then on top of that,
Hey, not bad.
yeah, a lavender Ostara cake. Okay, it's a little flatter than I thought it would be, but I suppose we could have put it in 2 stiffer loaf pans and we could have had 2 kind of smaller cakes.
Yeah?
Actually, that's pretty good. That's really good.
You can't have any. Despite it not looking how we expected, the results are fabulous. So,
Cake is my favorite dessert, and this one, woo, this one checks all the boxes.
this one takes the cake.
No, but it checks all the boxes. Oh my goodness. No one is going to turn this down. So, oh, that's really good. Oh, thank you so much for joining us. Please ring the bell so you can know when there's new videos that go up. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment on the video. Tell me if you did something different, like, you know, maybe didn't use lemon juice, maybe just used, because I think you can get away with the glaze just being sugar and milk too.
I don't know, I like the lemon though.
But the lemon gives a nice zing to it. Yeah, definitely comment on the video. Let me know if you tried it and how it turned out for you. And also sign up for Patreon. Patreon is a real easy way to not only get these cooking videos, but also you can find out all the other things that I'm doing with writing, since there are plenty of things that are going on other than just cooking and baking. So thank you so much for joining us. Happy making, happy baking, happy eating, and happy reading. Bye.